Welcome in, Bills Mafia. This is the 100th episode with the Red, White, and Bills. I'm joined by one of my partners, Go Bills Podcast. And I just wanted to put out a quick pregame tonight because I won't be able to do anything the rest of the weekend because of the holidays. But I just wanted to, before we got into it, thank each and every one of you for tuning in. If you were here for every episode or just two of the episodes, it doesn't even matter. All of this isn't possible without you. You guys make this experience so special, and I'm really excited to do this pregame show. And without further ado, I will let Brett introduce himself, and you already should know him by now. But Brett, take it away.
Well, thank you, Sean. I appreciate you for having me on your 100th episode. Congratulations to the Red, White, and Bills for being able to get to 100 episodes. I know.
Thank you.
Most of the time, if we were on a TV show, we'd probably be canceled already, but we're on YouTube, so that's a good thing. We get to roll with that. But,
here.
Yeah, there's no canceling. But other news, I will say this real quick before I jump in about myself. The NFL Sunday Ticket has moved over to YouTube, so that's big news as well.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm happy about that. So we'll be good to go for next season with the NFL. But I am the Go Bills Podcast. I'm Brett with the Go Bills Podcast. I founded the podcast about 3 years ago. We started off on Instagram, and now we've moved over to 5 different social media platforms. Also, we have our own website that we just started. And I've been on many different podcasts with Sean. Sean has been great for me. He's been influencing me each and every week, encouraging me to put out new content every single week. So I do appreciate him, as well as Nickel City Mafia for having me on their podcast as well and do our thing. And we're rocking and rolling, getting ready. But we have draft shows. We have weekly shows where we do our pregame show, postgame show, halftime shows, as well as we're trying to do some collaborations with a couple of other people as well. Like one of the other ones we did was Mafia Stop and their metaverse that they have as well. So we're staying very busy lately.
Absolutely. We all see you do your thing out there, and it's awesome when we all can get together. So go to Go Bills Podcast on all of his platforms, subscribe to his YouTube channel, hit the notification bell, and you're welcome. You're welcome to – he's a great guy. He's a great content creator. That's why I'm saying you're welcome, because I'm telling you to go subscribe to him, and then once you do, you're going to thank me. So I'm already going to say you're welcome. But before we get into the game, we had 4 Pro Bowlers. Mitch Morse, who I'm actually kind of surprised, not that he's not good, but it's only 2 centers make it. And I'm really surprised that the players and coaches felt that. I think he's great, but a top 2, I didn't even think he was a top 2 center in my opinion, but it's really incredible that he got recognized because he does deserve it. Josh Allen, of course, obviously. Jordan Poyer, his first Pro Bowl, obviously, finally, and that's more than well-deserved. And then Stephon Diggs, of course. And, my opinion is, obviously, they're going to play in the Super Bowl, so there's no Pro Bowl. But as much as the Pro Bowl doesn't really mean anything, in a way, I feel like it does because you're being recognized by your peers and by the coaches. The fan vote counts as a third. But as we've seen with Tua, you could get 1 million fan votes, and it doesn't matter if you don't get voted by your peers and by the coaches. So, again, and when I say Mitch Morse, to me, isn't a top 2 center in the league, it's not a bad thing. Well, technically top 2 in the AFC, but it's really hard to be a top at your position. And a lot of people, they think like, Matt Milano got snubbed. Did he really though? Because yeah, he's an incredible player. He's an elite player, but there's probably 2 linebackers in the AFC that are better than him. And there's nothing wrong with that. He's still an incredible elite talent, but you got Roquan Smith out there, and I forgot the other guy that made it, but it doesn't mean that he's not elite. It's hard to be top 2 out of 60-something or 70 players. So Congrats to these guys. And again, I'm not saying that we don't have elite talent, but people have to understand how insanely hard it actually is to get voted to the Pro Bowl. And when you look at Bass is a 4th alternate, and he has the most points scored out of every kicker. And there's only one kicker that goes. So it's like Justin Tucker, I think Carlson, and Nick Folk. Somehow he's a 4th alternate, but it just goes to show you how it's more than just you being good. It has to be your peers and the coaches have to see it as well. But how do you feel about our 4 Pro Bowlers, and how do you feel about the scale and the voting of Pro Bowling in general?
So I'm happy that we have 4 Pro Bowlers. I thought potentially we were going to have a 5th in Matt Milano, but having him be a first alternate, I'm fine with. I think that overall it was pretty good voting. I feel like the people on the Bills that definitely deserved it are there. Mitch Morse, I would agree with you. I would have thought that maybe he would be a first alternate instead.
Yeah.
But, I'm really happy for him. Congratulations for him for being in the Pro Bowl game. But more concerning is the fact that he's injured right now. He has another concussion. That's more concerning because his career could potentially be in jeopardy too. And you don't really know what's going to happen. And I know there was talk last year with his concussion that he had, and there's talk about retirement. And that could potentially be coming up soon for Mitch Morse too. But overall, I'm happy with it. I do think that overall the voting for the Pro Bowl is pretty fair. I think that it should be about 33% for the fans as well as the other 2/3 of the NFL makes it up. But I feel like there were some Pro Bowl snubs, especially Tua missing it. And I also thought that TJ Watt shouldn't have made it. That was kind of crazy. I mean, we talked about it. You brought up a really good case where he was 75th in sacks this season. And although he did have a good start to the season, I'm not saying that TJ Watt doesn't deserve Pro Bowl votes. But if he's been out for most of the season, I don't think he should make it. I think you should give it to a player who's been working his tail off, and that should be out there each and every week making plays. And I felt like, a guy like, if TJ Watt made it, Von Miller should have made it.
Yeah.
Or even Greg Russo should have made it.
Yeah. So it's a good point because a lot of it could be reputation. Like Xavier Howard made it, and he's been trashed the entire season. So that's why TJ Watt made it. And sorry, my computer's dying. But yeah, I mean, but when you think about the Tua thing, is he better than Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and Joe Burrow?
In my opinion,
that's why he's technically not a snub, because those guys they all played better and they are better. So that's the only thing.
Right. I would agree with that.
But I get what you're saying though. Like, he's had a great year, but that's the thing about that's my point about the Pro Bowl is, like, Matt Milano is an elite player, but you can't say that he's better than Roquan Smith. Like, I don't know the other Pro Bowler, but that's the thing about it is just like you can still be an elite player and not get into the Pro Bowl. And I'm not saying Tua is an elite player. He did have a good season, but being an alternate is fair. But he's definitely not. He definitely shouldn't have been picked over Mahomes and Allen and Burrow. And then if you want to like if you look at Waddle as well, he's the 5th receiver in the league and he's the first alternate. There's 4 receivers: Diggs, Chase, Hill, and who's the other guy? Diggs, Chase, Hill, and Devontae Adams.
Right.
Waddle's not better than those 4. So, like, you would see him as a snub, but he's technically not, because when you really look at who's ahead of him, it makes sense. But no, with the TJ Watt and the Xavier Howard, that was all based off of what they've done in their career and out of respect. I mean, unless corners in the AFC are just that bad that Xavier Howard had to be voted in. But I mean, Sauce and Surtain and who's the other guy? Surtain, Sauce, and forgot the other guy.
See, I'm gonna pull up the roster. So bear with me 1 second. I got the NFC roster, so let me see if I can pull up the AFC. Here we go. AFC roster.
The head I just forgot.
It's not telling me. For some reason, it's not telling me. Marlon Humphrey was one.
Right. Oh, yeah, it was Humphrey. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, I guess that was all based off of respect for Howard, but he's definitely not a Pro Bowler this year. If you watched him play, and the other one that was kind of head scratching was Orlando Brown from the Chiefs. He's been terrible. He's been awful. They actually got 3 Pro Bowlers on their offensive line this year: Tooney, Creed Humphrey, and Orlando Brown. So, I mean, that's good for them. But Orlando Brown, I don't think he should have got it. But again, it's all based off of sometimes it's his career's been good, or who knows. But for the most part, I thought they did pretty well this year. But happy for the guys, they deserve it. They deserve the accolade. And for the alternates, none of you guys are going to be in it anyway, so don't worry about it because we're about to be in Arizona. So
yeah. What were your thoughts on CJ Mosley getting picked over Tremaine Edmonds?
I get it. I mean, I don't really like Mosley too much because I think he's a dirty player, but he's always the highlight of that defense. I mean, you could say Quentin Williams this year, but Mosley's all over the place all the time. He hits hard. He doesn't normally miss tackles. He has a couple dumb plays like he did. He screwed up the Lions game when they gave up that 4th and inches touchdown. He screwed up our game where he jumped over the line when he knew we weren't going to snap the ball. But that guy's just – I mean, Edmonds is great too, but Mosley he's just been great longer, and he continues to be at that higher level. He's all over the place. He disrupts and makes plays all the time. So I get it, but I could see why people would be like, but I wouldn't be mad that Mosley got it over him. I understand that for sure. Yeah, Quentin Williams got his first Pro Bowl as well, so that's cool for them. I mean, they're playing right now. They're losing, and I'm kind of torn because I kind of want the Jets to win. So because I'd rather see the Jets in the playoffs than the Dolphins because they haven't been there in as long. The Dolphins made it back in 16 or 15, right? And the Jets haven't been there since 2010. So for division purposes, I think it'd be cooler for the Jets. But at the same time, I like watching the division lose. So yeah, I don't know. I think the Jags would probably win it though because I think Ryan Tannehill's out for the year. So and they play one more time. So I think they got a chance to win a division. But let's get into the Bears-Bills game. It's in Chicago. It's going to be kind of terrible weather, -11 wind chill, 30-mile-an-hour winds, rain and snow mix. I mean, you leave one crappy area for weather and you go right to the next one. They actually had to leave today to get there because of the inclement weather. But talk to me. What we do on my pregame show, I'm sure you already know, but just for the people that are watching, we do who to watch on the Bills, who to watch on the Bears, key players on the Bears, or keys to victory for the Bears and keys to victory for the Bills. And we can also go over the injury report as well. But let's talk about the Bears first. I got a couple of people written down here, but give me one person who you are watching on this Bears team coming this Saturday.
Well, I'll start on offense, and I'm probably going to steal some thunder away from you, but I'm going to start with Justin Fields. This is the guy that he's 7th in the NFL right now with 1,000 rushing yards, at exactly 1,000 rushing yards. And he's on pace to potentially break the record for most rushing yards in the season by a quarterback. And he's been averaging over 7 yards per carry. He is somebody that is also first in the NFL in yards after contact. So I think that he's somebody that we're going to have to look out for his legs. He doesn't have the same arm as a guy like Lamar Jackson, but he has the same speed as Lamar. And if I'm Buffalo, I'm looking to take him out in the run game and let him pass over us. I would play soft coverage against him in a soft zone and let him try and throw the ball over you. This is the 32nd ranked passing offense in the NFL. So let them try and throw the ball, but eliminate the run. And you're going to have to be very smart in the run game if you're Buffalo, where you're going to have to stay contained and stay in your gaps. Make sure you're tackling to take down Justin Fields because he's somebody that can break tackles, and you don't want him to go for 15 to 20 yards down the field. And then you're having head-scratching plays left and right. And Sean and I are going to be ticked off, sending messages back and forth to each other where we're not happy. And I want a game where we can just relax. It's Christmas Eve. Let's just relax and let's be able to enjoy a Buffalo Bills football game.
Oh, yeah. I'm already expecting him to run all over us just because that's what he's been doing. That's what he should have been doing since week 1. And they were trying to make him be something he wasn't. And you can't take that away from players like Hurts, Fields, Allen, Lamar, guys that can move. You know what I'm saying? You can't take that away from them and try to make them something into a pocket passer when it's a whole different element of their game. But Justin Fields being unlocked, imagine once the Bears got a lot of first-round picks, they got a lot of money. They're going to be a team to watch next year. I'm telling you right now. But I'm going to go offense as well for my next one is David Montgomery. He's so good. He's such a great ball carrier. He could turn something into nothing. He's powerful. He's electric. He's got speed. And again, if you pair him with Justin Fields in a terrible weather game, after you watch the debacle of run defense we just had against Miami, even though that was the game plan, let them run the ball, we couldn't tackle. So it was a solid game plan because they had a terrible run offense, but you couldn't tackle them. So it made them look really good. So the Bears are 20 times better run offense than the Dolphins are. So that's what worries me about this game because of the weather condition and how poor tackling we've been throughout the season. But I mean, he's the guy that I would love to have on our team. But again, I love Motor and I love Cook. So he's just the guy that anyone would want in their team. He's a playmaker and he gets it done. He's reliable, but
he's also explosive. He's also explosive out of the backfield, being able to catch the ball out of the backfield too. So that's another aspect that Buffalo is going to have to look for because he's a pass catcher. They can use him, in different situations where you put him in the slot as well. I think they're going to move him around the line and try and make Buffalo uncomfortable so that it'll allow different holes for Justin Fields to be able to run the ball too.
Absolutely. You got another guy you're keying in on?
Yeah. Another guy that I'm keying on is tight end Cole Kmet. He's somebody that's struggling right now with a knee injury, but he hasn't been the number one focal point for the Bears on offense since Darnell Mooney was out. And he's somebody that he's really good at just being able to find the soft spot in the zone. And while he's not the fastest guy in the world, he's not the biggest guy and most athletic, he just knows where to be at the right time. And he's somebody that I think is going to have a good game in this game because he's able to just catch the ball. And I'm not really afraid, and I'm trying not to say too much bad about the Bears because I do think that they're an up-and-coming team. I really like what they have for the offense, but they just need to build around Justin Fields, and it's a team that's on the rise, and they have over $100 million right now.
Yeah,
they can just roll over next season. And they're going to be spending money. They're going to be big money guys where they go out and get different free agents. And potentially they could steal some guys from Buffalo. And I mean, if you're looking at this game, I'm looking at it as how can I fix my team with a team that's potentially going to go to the Super Bowl? So I'm looking at it as a scouting report, And
and they got a lot of draft capital as well.
Yeah, they do. So I think that he's somebody that he can just sit and catch the ball. And I'm not afraid of these receivers for the Bears, honestly. So that's the other guy that I had as a key matchup for the Bills to look forward or to look at.
Yeah, and a funny story about Cole Kmet, he actually has more touchdowns this year than Kyle Pitts has in his career so far.
Wow.
So I know it's a short career, but it's just funny how in a few games Cole Kmet has more touchdowns than Kyle Pitts. But I think it was he has more touchdowns in like 2 or 3 games this year than Pitts has in his entire career.
Wow.
Of almost 2 years. So it's pretty funny. But
that's crazy.
The next guy for me, Jaquan Brisker, he's a safety. And I've seen him a couple times when the Bears were on primetime. They weren't they on primetime like 3 times in the beginning of the year for some reason?
Yeah.
But I've seen him in those games, and he was always that guy in the defense besides Roquan Smith before they got rid of him. That was always making plays. He always wants to be where the ball is, and he's probably their best on their defense right now, obviously. And obviously, their defense isn't solid. They're like you mentioned, they're really bad. They're 32nd. Actually, their overall defense is 32nd. Their pass defense is 31st. So They don't have a great pass defense or overall defense whatsoever, but he's a guy that can make a play. And in a game where, yeah, obviously we're a way better team than the Bears, but in that kind of condition, it could go either way anytime. So you don't want to be making mistakes. So I want to keep the ball away from him. And obviously Josh is going to know where's Brisker on the field. I'm gonna throw it away from him and try to trick him and bait him this way and throw it this way, or vice versa. So Jaquan Brisker for me is the guy on defense that I'm watching for sure.
Yeah, another guy that I have that I would be watching out for is Nicholas Morrow. He is a really good linebacker for them. That's having a season that is probably one of the better ones for a linebacker this season. He's right up there with Tremaine Edmonds and Matt Milano in tackles this year with 95. And he's really taken over since Roquan Smith has left the team. So I'm going to be watching out for him, especially when Buffalo is trying to have different run plays to the running backs. He's going to be somebody that's going to be around the ball left and right. And if I'm Josh Allen, I'm looking out for him anytime I take off because he's a hard-hitting linebacker. And he's pretty much said that, if Josh takes off, I'm going after him. So you got to keep your eyes out for him. Last week against the Eagles, he had 11 tackles. 2 of them were assists, so he's able to make some really good tackles.
Oh yeah, that's a good pick. So now instead of going from who to watch from the Bears to the Bills, we're just going to go right to the keys to victory for the Bears. And for me, I only have one for the Bears, and I'm going to keep it with the Christmas spirit. That's a song, "Run, Run, Rudolph." And obviously they're Bears, not Deers, but that's the only way the Bears have a chance in even being close to competing with us. Bad weather game. You saw the poor tackling we did last week. Justin Fields, he's a magician on the field. So even a good tackling team is going to make bad attempts at Field. So you got to run the ball, you got to run it well, and you got to continue to run with Fields because, yeah, we might be able to stop the running game for the running backs, but once you put a quarterback who can move like him out there, it's not the same thing as stopping a running back. So keep doing that. You dink and dunk, run the ball with Fields and Montgomery, and that's a recipe for success. Keep the game close, keep us off the field, and see what happens. I mean, they've had a couple games where they played good teams tight. In the beginning of the year before they traded everybody, they were actually still in it. They were 3-4. They were 3-4, and they had a chance, and they just beat the Patriots. They were 2-4. They beat the Patriots on Monday Night Football, and they had a chance to. Honestly, maybe if they didn't trade everybody, they could be in the playoff hunt right now.
Yeah,
because of the NFC is the way it is. But they knew we have $100 million next year. We got draft capital. We need to get rid of these guys that are going to cost us a lot of money when we can rebuild right now. And they did the right thing. But that's the only key to victory I got for the Bears. And if Bears fans are watching, I'm not trying to sound rude or disrespectful. You guys are going to be great next year and the year after that probably. But as of right now, I think the only chance the Bears have is if they run the ball insanely well against the Bills. And obviously if their defense does a great job. But run the ball. I don't know if you got anything else besides that.
So I do have something else that I'm going to add to that. And this is something that I got a few notes on it. I do think running the ball is probably going to be one of the only ways that they're going to be able to win this game. But on the other hand, I do have to say with Justin Fields, he's number 1 in the NFL in throws over 20 yards overall. He has but he has thrown 17.2% of his throws for over 20 yards. So if I'm the Bears, I'm taking shots down the field when I see that the Bills are trying to have 8 men in the box. Take shots down the field, try and get your playmakers involved. Guys like Chase Claypool, who you just traded for, as well as other playmakers as well. But, I mean, I really don't think that they're going to be able to throw the ball on us. But if I'm looking at other ways to beat the Bills, screenplays. That's something that Buffalo has struggled with left and right. That's something that Buffalo will probably struggle with in this game because I have a feeling that they're going to try and stop the run. They're going to try and let Justin Fields beat him with his arm. So run the screenplays. Do whatever you can, dink and dunk like we said, but also use the play action in your favor too. And when you use that play action, roll Justin Fields out to his right. Let him throw, 20-yard passes, 30-yard passes. find the soft spot in the Bills' defense because as we've seen, there are soft spots in this defense as well.
Oh yeah, running that zone. That's all it is a big soft spot.
Yeah.
But yeah, great points there. Now we're gonna get into Bills who to watch, and the first one I'm gonna say is the run defense. After they've shown, we could stop great running backs, and they go piss down their leg against a terrible running offense. And now all of a sudden everybody thinks Miami Dolphins can run the ball. But if you watch any other Dolphins creator or you pay attention to them throughout the season, they've had maybe 2 games where they have over 100 yards rushing as a team. That's not good. They're not good at running, which is weird, because they got McDaniel. He's supposed to be a genius in the run game. But we've done that to teams that are inferior in the run game. We made them look really good. And again, they got to step up this week, especially in the weather. And a guy like Justin Fields, you can't have 2 weeks in a row again of you not stopping the run like we did a couple weeks ago, and then starting the narrative back up again when we're getting close to the playoffs. You had a bad game last week, bounce back this week, stay true to your assignments, wrap up, tackle properly, gang tackle, and you'll be fine. But I'm definitely watching that run defense for sure.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I'm worried about that run defense. I hope we can get it figured out. I know you sent a video over to us where you saw the different cornerbacks actually tackling correctly. So that was pretty funny to see that. I mean, I wish they could do that in a game where they could just wrap guys up, but there's things that need to be cleaned up left and right from the Bills. Hopefully that gets cleaned up this week against the Bears on offense. But another area that I'm looking forward to with the Bills is Stephon Diggs. We got to get the ball to Stephon Diggs in this game. He's going up against Kyler Gordon, who is a rookie. And you got to be able to take advantage of these matchups. Make sure that you're getting the ball to Diggs because he's been a little bit grumpy lately, in my opinion. And he should be. You're very right. I mean, if you look at the guy that the Bills pretty much traded him for, Justin Jefferson's having a monster year. And he's comparing his numbers to Justin Jefferson, and he wants to be better than him. So if I'm Stephon Diggs, I'm praying that I get at least 150, 160 yards in this game and at least a touchdown or 2. So get those numbers up. Let's get it back to normal, numbers where we see that Allen's and Diggs connection each and every play. And I don't understand why it's one-on-one coverage, why you're not going to Stephon Diggs. So you got to give the ball to him each and every time he's in one-on-one coverage.
Oh, yeah, and that should be a no-brainer. And that's what's frustrating is, like, you see people like Jefferson and Chase and Kupp, they're getting double-teamed or bracketed, and they always get the ball. And we have Diggs, and oftentimes he's not bracketed, and he's going to kill anybody he's on. And you give him 5, 6, 7 targets a game. He needs to get minimum of 10. I don't care if Josh throws the ball 20 times in a game, Diggs better be half those targets. And that's just because he's the best player on your team.
Completely agree.
That's why you bring him in. That's why you pay him money to help you win games. Yeah, sure, it's nice to pass the ball around and, obviously, but that's part of being – people think, there's drama. No, it's not drama. He's passionate about the game, and every receiver should act like that. You want the ball, you want to win, and it's literally your job. Like, I would be pissed off if, like, I got my cleaning company. If I went to a client's house and they hired me and they were like, I'm going to pay you $500 to clean my house, and then they just did it all themselves while I was there, it pissed me off because I want to do my job. I don't want you to walk around and do my job for me. So when Diggs isn't getting the ball, and like we got stopped 5 times in that third quarter. We punted 5 times. Dolphins forced us to punt, and Diggs didn't get the ball once, I don't think. And he's getting pissed off. Give me the ball. He should. Dorsey should be drawing up plays specifically for Diggs, not these stupid bubble screens that are 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage and you want him to run with the ball. Do something else. Don't just do that and think you're getting him the ball. He should always be targeted when he's on one-on-one coverage, like you mentioned. And again, minimum 10 targets. But I'm going to add to that. I'm going to say like all wide receivers because we've seen for the most part they struggle in inclement weather. We don't have a throwing problem in the weather. We have a catching problem. So besides giving Diggs the ball, I want to see the wide receivers all come together, make sure they got possession of the ball. Don't try to run with the ball before they catch it. Just focus. You might drop a couple. And so one thing I did figure out, Josh, according to PFF, a drop is a catchable ball with two hands on the ball that receiver with good ball placement, not just like he threw it in the air and someone had to jump and he tipped it. Josh leads the league with 32 catchable balls that were dropped. So if you put 25 or half of that, his completion percentage jumps up 4 or 5 points. And those are balls that are right in their hands, not a hard ball to catch. They're just right to your hands, drop. He has that 32 of those. And that's a lot. That's a lot. So
especially from a team that's going to the playoffs, and it's sad that there's that many that are happening.
And obviously there's drop considered a drop if like it's right, they reach for one hand, they drop it if it hits their hand, but those are more drops, but PFF only counts the great ball placement, both hands on the ball. It should be easily be catched and it's dropped. And he still leads the league in that. So there's even more than 32. But that's why I'm saying there's a wide receiver catching problem in the bad weather. Even in the good weather, they've had problems catching the ball. So in a game like this, every possession counts, every completion counts. If you got both hands on it and it's catchable, like those two that Knox had in that one drive where it was right in the middle of his hands, don't do that this week. Don't do your business. You win this game, you beat a 3-11 team on Christmas Eve, then you win the division no matter what.
Yeah.
For 3 years in a row now.
We control our own destiny for the number 1 seed too. We got to make sure that we're controlling our own destiny. We're not regressing this week. I know we're playing an opponent that is much worse than we are and less talented than we are. So this is something that I've always said, especially being a tennis player and somebody that teaches tennis as well on the side, is when you're playing an opponent that's so much worse than you, you can't take we call it speeding the game down. And there's a lot of times where you're playing somebody that's just so much worse than you. And we just start to like pretty much do the same things that they do. And it's like, I don't understand why. So if I'm Buffalo, we got to be playing with the same rhythm and treating this game like it's our last game of the season.
Oh, yeah. Update for the Jets game. They're down 13-3, about to go in a half. So not looking good for them. And, it's fine. I mean, it's nice to see the division lose. But it would have been nice to see Miami just miss it one more time. They'll probably make the playoffs, but it's always fun watching division rivals with hope not make it. But for me, I mean, obviously I put Beasley here as well, but that goes into the wide receivers. But the next person I'm watching is Dawson Knox. Obviously, he's a receiver, but he's finally getting more opportunity. He led the team in yards and catches last week. I want to see him compound that. So whether it's Dorsey getting him the ball again, and I don't want him targeted more than Diggs, but I want Knox to have a meaningful amount of snaps and targets as well as Diggs, obviously. But it's really nice to see Knox finally come into what we thought he was supposed to be from week 1. But it's better late than never, in my opinion. So let me get some Dawson Knox catches, maybe another touchdown. But keep feeding Diggs and Knox are your most reliable players usually. Yeah, Knox drops the ball a couple times, but that touchdown grab he had in the end zone to almost tie the game, it was crazy coming down with snow. So I was like, oh, he's going to drop that because he dropped those 2 easy ones, but he caught that. He had a jump in the air, and he caught it too. It was a tough catch, a tough throw, tough weather conditions, and he made up for it. So Diggs and Knox, they're the keys to victory. So you got anybody else on the Bills you're watching?
Well, I wanted to add into what you were saying about Dawson Knox as well as Cole Beasley. And I wanted to target Cole Beasley and just wanted to let you know that way it was out there on the air. Cole Beasley is on the practice squad, so the Bills would have to call him up for the game against the Chicago Bears. Potentially, they might not call him up, though. So he only has 3 games that he can be called up for the active roster, and then we'll see where that goes. But he might not be called up to the active roster this week. And I do have a feeling that they won't call him up because they're going to want to use him probably against the Cincinnati Bengals and New England Patriots in those 2 games. So we might not see Cole Beasley out there this week.
I think we will. I think we'll end up signing him. And what about John Brown? We've used him 3 times now, right?
I think we've used him twice, so he has 1 more left for us to use. Because last week he wasn't called up. Yeah, he wasn't called up last week. I think that they're going to save John Brown for the last game with him for the game against the Cincinnati Bengals. So that's why I think that we're going to have all our weapons out there next week against Cincinnati.
Yeah. I think they should just sign Brown and Beasley to the roster. I mean, you can get rid of Cam Lewis easily, and there's just somewhere, some position you can get rid of to put both of them on. But
Justin Murray.
Yeah, you don't even use them. But I mean, like you said, you get 3 times to use them before you have to make a cut. So we don't really have to worry about that now. But I think they might put Beasley up this time because I feel like there's a better chance of him getting signed than Brown. I love them both, but I think they brought Beasley in for a reason as well. But besides that, you got anything else for the Bills? Any other keys? Any other guys you're watching? Who to watch?
Another guy that I want to watch is Nyheim Hines. I want to see how they're going to utilize him in this offense. And, I mean, it's been slowly but surely, but I'm hoping that this is going to be the week that we utilize him more. And I want to see more carries. I want to see what he can do, why we brought him in off of the trade market, and see what he can bring to the Bills for next season. So I know there's areas of concern. I know that Buffalo has Devin Singletary out there who could potentially leave the Bills in free agency, but I haven't seen enough from Nyheim Hines in the offense, and I want to see what he can do for this offense going forward.
Oh yeah, it was so nice to finally see him score a touchdown. I was like, whoa, it's like we've all been waiting for him to be used in that way. But definitely, I like to see all 3 running backs get some touches this week. And I'm not saying give them 10 each, but I'd like to see all 3 of them have some sort of time in this game where they can make a difference.
Yeah, I want to see the hot hand. Whoever has a hot hand, go with it and use that hot hand for your advantage. And whether that's Singletary or James Cook or Nyheim Hines, whoever it is, get the hot hand going.
Oh, absolutely. For my keys to victory for Buffalo, let's move to that. Stop the run, obviously, because that's probably what their game plan is going to be because of, not only is it rainy and snowy, but the wind gusts are about 30 miles an hour. So we know Josh can throw in that, but I'm not so sure about Justin Fields. I'm sure he probably might be able to because he played at Ohio State, and it's, Ohio's not that great of weather either. But I never watched much college football, so I can't answer to that if he's great in the weather. But it is hard to throw the ball in that condition, obviously. So stop the run for me is first because I want them to beat us with the pass. Because who on their offense is going to be able to go up against Trey White? I mean, Jordan Poyer is going to be back there. You can probably get some on Dane Jackson, but for the most part, you're going to have a hard time throwing the ball on us. So stop the run. And I'll say another one, then you can keep going as well. Sorry. Catch the ball. Plain and simple. Just catch the damn football if you're a wide receiver. Don't make things harder for us than they have to be. Move the sticks. If you got your hands on it, catch it, bring it in, and let's just get this game behind us, get the win, focus on getting this win one at a time, 1-0 every week. Catch the ball, stop the run.
I like that. The next key that I had is, and I'm going to start with the offense for the Bills, and that's win the battle in the trenches. It's been week in, week out where Buffalo has struggled with the battle in the trenches. And I want to see this offensive line bully the hell out of this defensive line from the Bears. There's nobody, in my opinion, that you should worry about on this Bears defensive line. So I want to see us up in their faces. I want to see us getting big-time carries to our running backs. I want to see them getting clean pockets for Josh to throw the ball in. And I want to see a really clean game from the Bills with this offensive line. And not only is that the battle in the trenches, but also the penalties battle. Week in, week out, we're battling these penalties with one going to Deion Dawkins, one going to Spencer Brown, there's a holding, there's a false start, there's this, there's that. And it's just so tiring week in, week out. It reminds me of Rex Ryan when he was with the Bills. And it just seems like, I mean, every single time it was Deion Dawkins with a false start. It was, right tackle for us that had a hold every single week. I think it was Jordan Mills that was the right tackle at that time. But it was just like, can you guys just get on the same page, please?
Oh, yeah.
And Aaron Cromer's offensive line needs to get it together. We are in this bottom half in the NFL. And can you imagine, you said it before, Sean, we've said it all on our podcast. Can you imagine if he had a top 10 offensive line if Josh had it behind him? Can you imagine what we could do?
Insane.
I mean,
possibilities are endless.
Yeah, the possibilities are endless. So let's clean it up. Let's get back to the normal Buffalo Bills football. And in my opinion, that football starts with our offensive line being bully balls. So I'm going to steal a book out of Rex Ryan's playbook. Let's play some bully ball today.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like you mentioned, great point. Their defensive line, not to be rude, they're full of a bunch of bums. So we should have no problem taking advantage of it. And another one I wanted to mention, keep contained this week more than ever. You can't let Justin Fields get outside on you. You got to push him back inside, let the linebackers clean him up. Because if you let him get outside, he's gone.
Yeah.
He's zipping.
I can completely agree with you. And that goes with my point that I was going to add in is the pass rush for the Bills has to be disciplined in this game. You can't be going after Justin Fields and taking your man, on the outside where you have gaps for Justin Fields to be able to take off. So you got to be gap disciplined in this game. You got to be smart, know when to rush, know when to sit back a little bit and be able to worry about when Justin Fields takes off. And this goes along with the maintaining the gaps is treat Justin Fields exactly like you treated Lamar Jackson in that game that we did against the Baltimore Ravens. If you treat it exactly like that, where you have Matt Milano and Tremaine Edmonds working the outsides to contain Lamar as well as Justin Fields, we're going to have success in this game. So if you're able to get them into 3rd and longs where they have to throw the ball, they have to play on our soft zone coverage, I think the Buffalo is going to win this game easily.
100%. Last thing for me, if you're going to run a friggin' hard count, please don't false start for the 100th time of the season. Because, again, it's just the thing you learn, one of the first things in football. All right, guys, we're going to go on 3, okay? On 3. You say it 50 times in the huddle when you're 12 years old. On 3, on 3. You look at everybody, on 3. And you go up there and you still mess up. You know the damn count. And you're a professional grown-ass man. You're smart. You get paid millions of dollars. I don't know what – I mean, their plays are miles long. But if you know what the count's going to be, you shouldn't move. If you're a guard, you should never false start because out of the corner of your eye, you should be looking at the ball. You should look at the ball, and then when he hikes it, you already know where your guy is because he's lining up on the inside or outside shade of you. You should be watching the ball. And if you're obviously the rest of the offensive line, you know what the call is. Don't jump early because you're trying to make them jump.
Right.
So if you jump, it does anything but hurt us. And like you mentioned, they jump on a hard count, and then they'll get a holding call. Then they'll get a false start in the same drive. Then you got 3 penalties in a row, and you're 2nd and 50, and then you're screwed. So if you're going to call a hard count, pay the frig attention and do it correctly.
Right.
And if it doesn't work, at least you didn't jump off sides, or at least you didn't false start and then put us back in a hole. And then you get flustered and you do a false start again. Just stop. If you can't do a hard count, just don't do it, I guess. I mean, it's the simplest thing, one of the simplest things to do in the game. But if you struggle with doing it all the time, maybe don't do it. Right. That's just me. But that's all I got for our keys to victory. I don't know if you have another one you wanted to add.
Yeah, I have one more, and this is going with the Bills on offense, is use the motions to your advantage in this game so that you can create confusions for the Bears on defense. This is a offense or defense for the Bears that the defensive coordinator for the Bears, Alan Williams, only has 2 seasons of in the NFL as a defensive coordinator. I keep wanting to say offensive coordinator, but a defensive coordinator. So if I'm the Bills, I create motions to get these young guys uncomfortable and having to talk to each other and try and figure out what the Bills are running on offense. So utilize the motions in your favor is going to be another key for me in this game.
Awesome. I love it, man. But hey, we're getting to the end, so we're going to give a score prediction, and I'll let you go first, and then we'll wrap it up, and we'll thank everybody for tuning into the 100th episode.
Yeah. So I have the Bills winning this game 24-13. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game just based off of the conditions. I think that the Bills offense is going to have success in this game, but I think it's mostly going to come from the running backs. I think that there's going to be a few touchdowns from the different running backs. Whether those are passing touchdowns or rushing touchdowns is to be determined, because I want to see closer to the game being played what the conditions are going to be actually, because if you look back at last week, I thought it was going to be a game where there was going to be snow coming down throughout the whole entire game. Look how the conditions turned out. So I say 24-14 or 24-13. I think that Tyler Bass is going to have the one field goal that I think it's going to be in the 40-yard range, and that's going to be where the Bills go in this game.
I love it. Part of me wanted to say like 17-10, but last week I did a soft prediction of 19-13 because the weather was supposed to be awful. This time I'm not going to do that because I just don't. I guess you never know. I'm just going to go for it all. Early Christmas gift, 34-17, Buffalo. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if it's like 17-10. But I'm just not going to do it 2 weeks in a row because I mean it wasn't raining and 30-mile-an-hour winds. But we were supposed to be terrible. It was supposed to be a foot of snow during the game, 40-mile-an-hour gusts. So I made the prediction sooner. This time, even though I know the weather's supposed to be bad, I'm still going to say 34-17.
I like the score, though. I really do. I have a feeling it's going to be low scoring. I'm going to take the Mike Fortin look at this one.
Yeah, definitely.
And rely on him. I know he thinks it's probably going to be like something closer to like 21-20 or something like that. He'll say it's going to be closer. So I'm just going to take the low-scoring game and play a Mike Fortin card.
Hey, as long as we win, we're in that point now where, we did what we had to do. We're 11-3. We won blowouts, close games, ugly games, pretty games, running the ball, passing the ball, playing defense. We won it every single way you could win it. And now you got 3 more games. You win this game, you win the division for the third year in a row. That's also why the Bills wearing the East shirt today, because it's going to be a guarantee that we win the division again. All we got to do is win one more game. We could go 2-3, or we can go 1-2, and we'll win the division. So obviously we don't want to go 1-2, but that's why I'm saying it's basically a guarantee, because I already know we're going to win at least one game. I think we're going to win out. But it's going to be another division title for the Bills going into the playoffs, Super Bowl aspirations in hand with the 1 seed. We'll see how it goes. But, Brett, I want to thank you for joining me on my 100th episode. I was like, I'm at 97 a couple of days ago, and I was like, I want to do a actual video of episode 100. So I really appreciate you coming in. I know I'm not in my office. I'm in my bedroom. Nickel City Mafia comes in. Congrats on the 100th episode. Thank you, man. I really appreciate it because you were in most of them as well, because we do our shows together and they all show up on part of the numbers. So really appreciate you, Mike and Jake over at Nickel City Mafia, and of course Brett at Go Bills Podcast. It really means a lot to me, and I can't wait for the next 100 or the 150th and the 200th. It all means a lot, and I can't wait for episode 101, talking about a Bills victory, clinching the division with my friends at Go Bills Podcast, Nickel City Mafia. I'm sure we'll do a post game, but before I let Brett talk and give his last minute thoughts, just want to wish you all a Merry Christmas and a happy holiday season. Happy New Year. I'm probably going to see you before New Year, but Merry Christmas. God bless you guys. Be safe. Don't drink and drive. I'm giving you safety briefs like we had in the military, but I'll let Brett go, wrap it up, and we'll say goodbye.
Yeah, first and foremost, Sean, to your family as well as Nickel City Mafia and everybody out there, I want to wish everybody a happy holidays. Merry Christmas to everybody. Stay safe, stay healthy, enjoy the time with your family, have fun out there, and let's get another Bills victory this week. You can find us on all our different social media platforms. You can find us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter. And Sean, I got to give one last shout out to you, man. Thank you so much for having me on. Thank you for all you do for the Red, White, and Bills. You're an amazing host on here. I really appreciate you and everything that you've done. And congratulations on the 100th episode. It's incredible. I'm honored to be on here with you, man. And you've done so many good things for your podcast as well. So I can't wait for the next 100. Can't wait for the 1000th episode. And
Oh, yeah.
I can't wait for the episode that we all do it together, where we're standing out in front of the stadium or out in front of downtown Buffalo, where we get to see this Bills team holding up the Lombardi Trophy. That's going to be the best episode ever. Even though this is a great 100th episode, that episode will be the best in my opinion. So
absolutely.
I'd love to see a video where you could do it, where you bring back all the videos that you've done so far, and you go over the first 100 videos. That would be awesome to see, man.
That would be cool. I got to figure that out. That'd be really nice.
Yeah,
do a little awesome. Do a little compilation of every video I've done. That'd be really cool.
Man. That would be awesome. But thank you so much for having me on, man. Happy holidays to you and your family. Merry Christmas to them. And let's get into Bills victory this week.
Same thing to you and your family. God bless you all. Go Bills. Let's get a dub. Peace. We're out.
Go Bills.